All right, welcome to the relationship show. This person writes his post. My best friend and his girlfriend want to set me up with her best friend, and it freaks me out. Yeah, usually when setup situations don't always communicate the most confidence, sometimes they're a little bit uncomfortable. We'll read this post here. Let's see. I'm 24 years old and have been single all my life. And also when friends set you up with someone else, it's almost like they're trying to do you a favor, but often it communicates that, hey, this guy that I know doesn't know what he's doing and he's never really had success with a relationship. You should get with him. That's often how it kind of gets interpreted. This might be a similar case. He says, I've had sex a few times with one girl years ago, but that's all the experience I have. I have tried various dating apps over the last years, but with no more success than a few first dates, which didn't lead to anything further. Okay, so what that tells me is like you don't know the dating phase. You probably have a decent as far as like looks or whatever you've got going for you, but you don't really know how to show up on dates. Let's continue. My best friend knows all that, and he wants his girlfriend to set me up with her best friend. The problem is the friend they want me to meet is extremely hot and is only single and doesn't have sex because she has high standards. I think you might be looking into that a little more than you you give yourself credit for there, because I don't know if you can really label somebody just by like appearances. You don't really know what they're like until you really get to know them. And don't trust people's like reputations for truth. Figure that out for yourself. He says, but the even bigger problem is that I'm really anxious towards women, especially when it comes to romantic or sexual topics. Yeah, so really the thing that gets you over that is being able to walk away and mean it, because if you can be able to walk away and mean it, it almost just makes you adopt this attitude of being like, don't really care, don't really give a shit kind of attitude. And it's like, well, you can just do it or not. But it's like, well, if you can walk away with mean it, you have that abundance. You're like, well, it doesn't really matter this time. And so sometimes that like eliminates the governor. If you've got like a governor on a car that like blocks how fast you can go, kind of the same situation. So it's like sometimes people have like a governor on what they can and cannot say. In regards to this situation, something like talking about sex. And so if you have like that, basically don't give a shit attitude, it's like, well, you can just eliminate that governor and then just kind of say what you want, because if they walk away, well, it's like, so what, I'll just move on with my life. I've never asked a girl out in real life or made any move. Okay. The only girl I slept with asked me out and initiated the first time we had sex. So you got to get out of that pattern. I mean, you just kind of have to do it. Once you do it, it's like once you break through and actually do it once, it's like, well, you realize it's not the biggest deal. Sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes you will get rejected, but just approach it like, ideally you want to read her attraction level towards you. So you approach women, gauge their level of attraction. If the attraction's there, that's when you make a move. When you do that, your chance of rejection drops drastically compared to just like going in there no matter what, asking her out and just trying to force things. It's like you really want to read her body language, read her enthusiasm towards you. Is she engaged in conversation? Is she asking you questions? Does she seem interested in you? If so, then that's when you are invited to make a move, and that's when you do it. He says, I feel like I'm under extreme pressure, and I'm pretty sure it will fail and become super embarrassing for me. First, I thought they will forget about it and I can sit it out, just not mentioning it again, but seem like I'm wrong. They want to set up something like a double date. Okay, double dates typically aren't very effective because, especially on like first dates, because there's that guard up. So it's like, Well, one thing is women don't want to be labeled like a slut, and so they're not probably going to kiss you in front of their friends, or if they do kiss you, it'll create like a whole scene. It's just like there's that other factor with group dates that I would just avoid. So I wouldn't do group dates unless she is your exclusive girlfriend. Otherwise it's going to be really difficult, or more difficult to really act naturally like you would in like a regular date. And also in this situation, it's kind of framed in a situation where you are seen as not very confident. And so this whole setup is because you're not very confident. And so that creates less value in her eyes. And so I wouldn't agree to doing this. Like if you are going to, try with this woman, it's like, well, you need to take the lead. You can't just be a follower here, because when you're a follower of this situation, it doesn't come across as you being strong. First I thought they would forget it. Yeah. Double date where 4 of us have drinks at my friend's place. I already showed her pictures of me, and she even asked for me the last time she was in town. So she's trying to initiate conversation. She's trying to get with you. So I can't get away anymore, but I already know I won't even be able to talk to her properly with us both knowing what's going on. So either our friends will push us to do something which will be super awkward, or nothing happens, and I won't talk to her anymore. Than some small talk, which would be super embarrassing for me. So you've got so much detail in here. It's like you're really overthinking this whole process. But it seems to be because you don't really want to do it. So it's like, man, I don't know. I wouldn't agree to this because it's not a good structure, not a good setup, not good presuppositions as far as you. They're really communicating that you just don't have confidence. He says, either way, I just feel weird, nervous, and anxious, and don't know how I could escape this situation. Say you're not interested and don't do it. It's like, don't just give in to peer pressure because people say, oh, you need to get a girlfriend. It's like, yeah, I teach dating, relationships, pickup, but it's like, if you don't want to do it, you don't do it, dude. It's like, you don't submit into like this peer pressure thing and being forced to do things you don't want to do. It's like, live your own life how you want to live it. And when you live your own life like how you want to live it, like you do what you want, you march to the beat of your own drum, that's when you really start to become attractive. Not this behavior like what's going on right now. Right now, you are just being like this weak, go with the flow kind of thing. Not even go with the flow. It's like follow the leader kind of thing, and follow something that you don't want to do. So don't do this. Don't agree to this. It will show up if you go there and you have this kind of attitude where you don't really want to be there. There's going to be that guard, and also it's going to be like a whole sacrifice to you too. So it's like, if you get into this thing, it's almost like you're not respecting yourself, even, because it's like, oh, you're forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do. And starting a relationship like this is not a good way to go. And so it's very difficult to overcome something like that. Thinking that you have to basically be with this girl to be in this friendship, and you don't want to be left behind. It's just, all of it just is weak. And in the end, if you follow through in this, and if you go through this, chances are it's not really going to work out. She seems to be from out of town as well. So it's like, I don't know what your outcome is from this. It's like, you mentioned that you haven't really dated anyone. You've hooked up with one woman a couple times. So I don't know if you're looking for just a hookup, but I don't think you really have defined what you want, because you're not really acting in accordance with that. So define what you want. Don't do things you want to do. Don't give in to peer pressure. Don't do these group dates at the start, because it's not really fair to her, because it's like, well, she can't really open up to you, and it's not that great of a situation. You want to get her alone. You want to be the one who takes a lead, not be in this follower role, because right now you're going to be this follower. You're following your friends. It's not a confident, not a strong, not a masculine way to show up. And so you need to, if you want to be with this girl, hey, get her number, contact her. Hey, they're trying to set us up. It's kind of dumb, but I'd like to give us a shot, but why don't we set up dinner? What days are you free? She's like, yeah, I was feeling the same thing because it's like, it was kind of uncomfortable. It's all forced. It's like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of that, but I would like to give us a shot, and just see where that goes. So how about this location, this date, this time? Does that work for you? She says, yes, great. I'll see you there. Or you say, hey, if something comes up, give me a call. Otherwise, I'll just see you there. Or, and I'll do the same. If something comes up with me, I'll give you a call. But otherwise, see you there. It's just like locking that in. You've set a definite date. You've been decisive. You know what you want. You defined what you want. You took the lead. And now you just show up on the date. Don't do call to confirm or things like that. If she gives you objections or whatever, just like, no, I'm not really interested in making plans with people who just kind of flake out last minute. So, maybe we can do it another time, but, if not, then take care. And then she's like, oh, no. I'll come on the date. It's like, that's being strong. That's being a leader. That's defending, that really, well, one thing is she'll probably jerk you around. It happens so much. She's going to test what you'll do if she tries to jerk you around. She's testing your strength as a leader, and you have to pass those tests. So once you pass those tests, just focus on having a good time in the relationship. Don't overcommit. Don't be an open book as far as just dumping everything about your whole entire life. Don't make the topics too heavy. Just have light topics that you have fun with as far as asking her questions. I've got I just made a product today as far as just like questions to ask on dates. So check that out in the description below. Just give you some sample ones, but just have the objective of really finding what this person is interested in and get her to talk about those things. When she talks about those things, then it's like, man, then it goes great. Then you just keep asking questions further about that. So once you do that, and just have fun with her, and then don't overdo texting after that. So once you have a good date, go for that goodnight kiss. If she gives it to you, great. And then you can progress further if the moment's right. If you are looking to hook up and it's like two of you have the heightened sense, it's like, don't discredit hooking up on first dates, because it happens quite a bit. Once you have a good date, wait a couple days, manage that space. So don't just be over pursuit. And then let her wonder about you, let her, think about you, let her go over the date in her head. And oftentimes women talk to their friends about how the date went, and in order to make better decisions. And so you need to give her that space to do that. Once you do, again, wait a couple days, give her a call, and then set the next definite date. So that's what some advice, or at least some kind of like a structure that you could follow in order to have more success and get out of this kind of really weak position you're in right now. And if you can do that basically system, you can replicate, and then over again, and then you get better and better and better until you become, your skills really grow. And then once you do that, once your skills grow, then you can have repeatable success, and it won't be as scary to do.